On October 18, 1997, an entire search team vanished inside the Pine Hollow Forest in northern Oregon. 6 deputies, 2 volunteers, 1 police dog. None of them were ever found. The official report blamed severe weather conditions and dangerous terrain. But the residents of Black Ridge County knew the truth. The woods had taken them. Again. For years, people around Black Ridge whispered stories about strange sounds deep in the Pine Hollow Forest. Voices calling from the trees. Children laughing at night. Missing hikers returning days later, unable to remember where they had been. Some returned different, quiet, emotionless, like something inside them had stayed in the woods. 27 years later, Ethan Walker drove toward Black Ridge with a camera mounted to his dashboard. Rain hammered against the windshield. Dark pine trees stretched endlessly along the highway. He adjusted the camera and smiled weakly. "This is Ethan Walker," he said. "Tonight, we are investigating Pine Hollow Forest." Ethan ran a small YouTube channel dedicated to unsolved mysteries and abandoned places. Most of his videos barely reached 10,000 views, but Pine Hollow was different. People online warned him not to go there after dark, which, of course, made him want to go even more. Lightning flashed across the forest. For a brief second, Ethan thought he saw something standing between the trees. Tall, thin, motionless. Then it vanished. 30 minutes later, Ethan arrived in Black Ridge. The town looked abandoned. Old diners glowed weakly beneath flickering neon signs. Rainwater flooded the empty streets. Most windows were dark. The only open business was a gas station near the edge of town. Ethan stepped inside. An old man stood behind the counter watching a static-filled television. The man slowly looked up. "You heading toward Pine Hollow?" Ethan nodded. The old man's expression darkened immediately. "You shouldn't be here after sunset." Ethan laughed nervously. "I'm just filming." The man didn't smile. "They hear cameras." Silence filled the gas station. The television hissed with static behind them. Ethan grabbed a bottle of water. "What exactly lives out there?" The old man stared toward the forest beyond the windows. "Something that remembers faces." A chill crawled through Ethan's chest. Outside, thunder shook the building. The lights flickered. Then the television abruptly turned black. Static screamed from the speakers. A distorted image appeared on the screen. A dark forest, filmed from above, as if something was watching from the trees. Then a face flashed across the television. Pale, smiling, human, but wrong. The screen died instantly. The old man whispered softly, "It knows you're here now." An hour later, Ethan parked beside the entrance to Pine Hollow Forest. A rusted warning sign stood beside the trail. "No entry after dark." Multiple disappearances reported. The flashlight mounted to Ethan's camera illuminated the trees ahead. The forest looked impossibly dark, like the light itself struggled to enter. Rain dripped slowly from the branches overhead. Ethan adjusted his backpack and started walking. At first, everything seemed normal. Wind through the trees, distant thunder, wet leaves crunching beneath his boots. Then he heard it, whistling, soft, faint, somewhere deeper in the woods. Ethan stopped walking. The whistling stopped too. Silence. Then another sound echoed between the trees. A child laughing. Ethan spun toward the darkness. "Hello." No answer, only rain. His flashlight swept across the woods. Nothing. But for one brief second, he thought he saw a pale face disappear behind the tree. Ethan's breathing became shallow. "This place is seriously creepy," he whispered to the camera. Then his flashlight flickered. Once, twice. Then darkness swallowed the trail. Ethan cursed under his breath and smacked the flashlight. The beam returned, and standing ahead of him was a little girl, barefoot, motionless. Her pale dress hung soaked in rainwater. Long black hair covered most of her face. Ethan froze. "Hey, are you okay?" The girl slowly raised one arm, pointing deeper into the woods. Then she whispered, "He's looking for you." The flashlight died again. Complete darkness. Ethan stumbled backward. His heartbeat thundered inside his chest. When the flashlight returned, the girl was gone. Only wet footprints remained in the mud, leading deeper into Pine Hollow. Ethan should have left. Every instinct screamed at him to run back toward the car. But the camera was still recording, and somewhere inside him, curiosity won. He followed the footprints. The forest became unnaturally quiet. No wind, no insects, no birds, only the sound of Ethan's breathing. Then the trees opened into a clearing. An abandoned fire watchtower stood in the center, tall, decaying. Its wooden structure creaked softly in the wind. Ethan approached slowly. Something dark was written across the tower walls. At first he thought it was paint. Then he realized it was blood. "Do not follow the whistling." Ethan stared upward. The tower door hung partially open, and somewhere above him, Someone was moving. Slow footsteps echoed inside the tower. Ethan lifted the camera. Hello. The footsteps stopped. Then came a voice. Soft, distorted. Ethan. His blood turned cold. The voice sounded exactly like his dead brother. Ethan staggered backward. Impossible. His brother died 12 years ago. The tower creaked loudly above him. Then something sprinted across the upper floor. Fast, far too fast. Ethan ran inside the tower. The wooden stairs groaned beneath his weight. Floor after floor climbed upward into darkness. The smell hit him halfway up. Rotting flesh. Ethan gagged. His flashlight beam shook violently across the walls. Scratches covered the wood. Thousands of them, like claws. Then he saw the photographs. Dozens of old missing person posters nailed to the walls. Some dated back to the 1970s. Others recent. But every photograph had one thing in common. The eyes were scratched. Ethan reached the top floor. The room stood empty. Rain battered the windows. Old radio equipment sat covered in dust. Then he noticed the tape recorder, still running. Static hissed from the speaker. Ethan slowly pressed play. A terrified voice filled the room. If anyone finds this, don't look outside the tower. Heavy breathing, crying, then screaming. The recording distorted violently. A deep growling sound echoed through the tape. Then another voice whispered, "It sees through your eyes." The tape abruptly stopped. Silence. Ethan slowly turned toward the tower windows. Outside, something massive moved between the trees. Too large to be human. Branches snapped loudly below. The tower suddenly shook. Hard. Ethan nearly fell. Another impact slammed against the structure. Dust rained from the ceiling. Then came the sound. Whistling. Right beneath the tower. Ethan forced himself toward the window and looked down. Dozens of pale figures stood motionless around the tower, watching upward. Their faces smooth and white. Their mouths stretched into impossible smiles. The tallest figure slowly stepped forward. Its body looked impossibly thin. Its arms dragged against the ground. And its face had no eyes, only skin. Then every creature tilted its head toward Ethan at the exact same angle. The tower lights suddenly flickered on. Even though there was no electricity, the old radio crackled alive. A distorted emergency broadcast filled the room. The tower door below exploded open. Footsteps thundered up the stairs. Fast, dozens of them. Ethan grabbed the camera and ran. The stairwell shook violently beneath him. Something screamed below. Not human. The sound echoed through the entire forest. Ethan burst from the tower into the rain. The pale creatures surrounding the clearing were gone. Only darkness remained between the trees. Then the whistling returned. Closer this time. Directly behind him. Ethan slowly turned. A towering pale figure stood only inches away. Its skin looked wet. Its mouth hung unnaturally wide. And inside its chest, human faces moved beneath the flesh, screaming silently. The camera feed abruptly cut to static.